I call to order the first annual monthly. I don't know how often we're going to do this, guys, but first annual meeting of the I don't know what we're going to call ourselves either. We're some kind of a troupe, some kind of a mummers troupe, some kind of a Morris band, some type of a merry band of fools, maybe some kind of wizard. If you're familiar with that song, uh, you can count yourself among the lucky few. Uh, that is the Winster processional, and it's a song that goes back in my history through my mother. And someday I'll tell you more about that. But basically, in the tradition of the mummers play or the troupe, the playing band, you would have a song, a processional, a song that you would come in with that would announce to the crowd that you were there to perform a play or some type of show or act for the crowd. And it was to gather the crowd there in order to play the show, right? And so I've gathered here today with my six representations of the members of our band thus far. I need to collect many more. There's probably at least 12, and then two of these don't even belong here. So three of these don't even belong here. So the 12 includes three. It gets complicated, but everybody's here that I have so far, and we have come together for our first meeting. So everybody stand up and sit down. And basically, we're going to go through the annual voting for our Mummers Play script. And I can see everybody's here. All my ducks are in a row, although that is an illusion because unfortunately I'm rushed. I haven't even, you guys know, I haven't even done the paradox episode. What is a paradox? I got two pairs of ducks right there, but I don't know. I telling them what a paradox is. A pole paradox. Man, that's gonna be a complicated episode. And like I haven't even taught them about magic for the beginning. Like there's so much that we have to go over, guys. But I'm glad everybody's here. Just in case you guys haven't met everybody, I'll just introduce. We've got Mr. Bun Bun. We've got Captain Squawks. We've got Fauna. We've got Finnegan Fox. We've got Dilly the Dinosaur. And we've got Mr. Rat King himself. Mr. Rat again. All right. So, all right. Or Mr. Rattington, I should say. He is a sir. He's not the other one. We know the song. That's what gets stuck in my head. But yeah, we're here tonight to revive an old tradition, uh, and at least in the way that I can possibly do it or understand it in any small possible way. As I have mentioned before, I am a very forgetful old gray wizard. I don't know much about anything, and the things that I do know, it's mostly just for fun. It's mostly just stuff it's wordplay. It's things you put together just for fun. So before we go any deeper into tonight's episode, I just want to remind everybody that we're just here having fun, guys, and we're just taking a look at things. Say, try to get people interested in learning and just understanding maybe the world a little bit more once again. And if we can accomplish that in any small way, then we've lived up to our ideals. So without further ado, we will begin going through what will be your guys' voting for what the script should be. I know what my vote is personally, but I know I have a feeling about which way that's going to go. And so, without further ado, I know you guys have put all of your votes in the hat or under the hat, so I'll just take it out of the way for a moment and we'll take a look. And so, what have we got here, guys? Okay, well, we got my vote, uh, the classic, the traditional. Yes, I understand. I understand you guys are sick and tired of the traditional version. I thought I might just read a little bit from it, and then we could go into some of your others. But okay, you want me to read yours first? And then you got some other scripts for me to read after we do this one a little bit. Okay, well, we'll see. And you guys have all prepared this, right? So I'm gonna go through them one by one, and we'll see what kind of a script we're gonna be working with, who our main characters are gonna be, and who all it is that you want to be. I know that we got to stick to the originals, guys. So like, I know that one of you's guys got to be King George, one of you's got to be the dragon, right? There's a doctor. There might be a tooth fairy, and you know, Megatron might show up at some point. I'm trying to remember who all the characters are, but yeah, we'll take a look. Okay, so our first vote for the 2006 26. This is for 2026, guys. Which script are we gonna read for the Mummers play? You guys will all be dressed up by that time, right? So you know, we'll try to do voices for each of you, and we'll play the characters. But which script do we want to read? You guys are all supposed to vote on the same one, so I don't know why there's six different ones here, but we'll go through them one by one. All right, so first one we've got is Transformers. Which Transformers is that, guys? Okay, so it's Mr. Bun Bun's vote. Mr. Bun Bun says that it's not the 2027 or 2007 Transformers. It's the 1986 version of Transformers. Okay, so it's the cartoon version. We're gonna stick with that version as being our traditional version of Transformers. Okay, we can work with that. That gives us Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Unicron as the evil character. So you know that it makes things simple for us. You know, easy to understand. We can go through that. Uh, so thank you for that vote, Mr. Bun Bun. I appreciate that contribution because that's an easy one for me. Okay, and who we got next? We got Dragon Ball Z or just Dragon Ball. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Okay, so this is Mr. Raddington's vote. Mr. Raddington's vote. He says that it's either Dragon Ball the original series up until they get the first series of Dragon Balls and they vote for the Magic Underwear that episode, or it's Dragon Ball Z. You said against Frieza or Majin Buu. It's Majin Buu. Okay, well that's kind of cool. I like Majin Buu. It's also Frieza as well. Okay, well we could do that. And but you said no. It's also Gohan fight Cell. Man, but how are we gonna get all that into one episode, guy? Like, guys, we can't just do all the every single series in one play. No, that's not gonna work. We gotta figure out who's gonna play which character. Who's Vegeta, right? Which one of you is gonna play Vegeta, right? Which one of you is gonna play King George? You want to play King George. Okay, so we got King George. Okay, who's gonna play the dragon? Who's gonna play? And you got Mr. Bun Bun wants to play the dragon. Sorry, Mr. Dilly, the dinosaur. I know that you were kind of holding out for the dragon, but it looks like Mr. Bun Bun has jumped in on it, and so we'll have to find another role for you, Dilly. I don't know what we're gonna put you in as yet, but we'll figure it out. And Mr. Dilly says, "Oh, that's okay. I'm used to it." All right, okay. Oh, I'm looking ahead. Sorry, guys. I'm skipping ahead here. What am I doing? Okay, so next vote for what script we're gonna be doing. We've got Darksiders. Which one? Darksiders 1. Darksiders the original, the one with the war. Okay, and Chaos Eater. So I would figure that you would want Chaos. Yeah, Captain Squawks. Okay, so we can do Darksiders. I can do a dramatic reading of some Darksiders. Oh, you want me to play the game itself? Ah, gotcha. Okay, so that would be something that we could also potentially do coming up on the channel. Okay, that would be interesting. We'll take a look. All of these all of these are archetypal stories, guys. Just keeping that in the chat, just throwing that out there. We'll see what the next ones are. Okay, so we got it. We got Transformers, Dragon Ball Z, and Darksiders. All of those are dead easy. They all have the same character structure, the same story arc. We can just interchangeably use, Optimus Prime, Goku, Vegeta, Megatron or Starscream and Darkseid, like all the symbolism like lines up. We can just use them interchangeably, and that's perfect. Also lines up with the OG story, so we're good. So good picks on all those ones. Okay, let's see what the next ones are. Okay, we got The Wizard of Oz and Phantom of the Opera. Okay, now who put those ones in? Okay, so we got Fauna. Fauna's got 2 votes. I don't know why Fauna's got 2 votes. I said you guys only got 1 vote. So we got The Wizard of Oz and The Phantom of the Opera. And why did you you want it to be a love story? Wait a minute. Wait, hold on a second. Well, how are we gonna do that? You want me to turn these characters, you want it to be like, oh man, how do you do that with a story, right? You want me to turn it into Goku Goku is the male lead and Vegeta is his love interest, but it's a girl this time, and it's kind of like the Phantom of the Opera, but she's gonna go on an adventure like the Wizard of Oz. That's what you want it to be magical. That's what you're saying. Okay, we can work with that, Fauna. I'll give it some thought. I might not be able to work it in this year, but maybe next year. So we'll see how that goes. Uh, and we'll see here. Okay, next vote we've got is the Hogfather. Okay, this is from Finnegan Fox. I appreciate you. You're coming in clutch. This is a traditional retelling of the OG story, so we can definitely use that. I definitely like some of the symbolism in the Hogfather. Most people don't even know what it is. It's a 2-part TV series, came out in the UK, just in case anybody's wondering. Has a lot of interesting symbolic references to Christmas and the original story, and we'll do a little reading here tonight, I think, of that. And finally, and last but not, what I tell you guys, you can't give me like one. You got 1 vote. You don't gotta have 4 votes. 4 votes. You want Monty Python's The Life of Brian, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, The Adventures of the Baron Munchausen, and Time Bandits. You want all of those? What? And The Princess Bride, and like every other good movie that you've ever seen in your life that follows this similar story arc, where it's like the hero goes on an adventure and has a good time, and there's like the uh-oh moment, and then the yeah, no, I get it, I get it. Oh man, but you guys are opening a can of worms with that. You're saying you're saying that we could go all the way down to here doing the original story? We could have this much of a range and how much fun or seriousness that we take with what we're going to do with our story, guys. That's a lot of range, man. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll talk to people. I'll see what they want. I'll see what they say. We'll have discussions about each of these things as we go out throughout the year, and we'll see what people think about, like, man, some of these ideas, because these are some good suggestions, guys. So, but like I said, I'm a little behind. I haven't been teaching them everything that I need to. And we're kind of behind the 8 ball here. And I thought we were going to do the original. You know what I mean? Uh, and well, okay. I guess I can show them a little bit of the original, right? So this is I'll see if I can go back to the front here. 1611 edition, King James version, because we're speaking English, right? Because you know apparently everybody does that nowadays. But I got us open here to the first book, Genesis, right? In the beginning, you know. I've always wondered about that sentence, in the beginning, you know. I've always been like, why did you start it like that? You could have started it so many other ways in the English language, in the lexicon, in the beginning. Things that you could have translated from. I have some ideas about like why that is, you know? And like I'm just gonna sort of talk through some of them and just sort of share some insights that I have just from what I've learned in the past and things that I've learned. It's all anecdotes. Everything I've learned is like anecdotally. It doesn't help anybody. They're always like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. But, we're just here to have fun, right? So, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And He did both at the same time. Does anybody know why He did both at the same time? This is a question for the class. This is a question for the class. Does anybody know why God created the heaven and the earth at the same time? We'll come back to that, because the rest of the story is interesting, right? And I like learning and listening to this version of it. But I know another version that's shorter and tells us the same thing, but I can do it in a different way. So that's what I was going to try to show you guys. We can come back to this and we can look at what it says. But just the idea of God creating the heaven and the earth at the same time. Interesting. Okay. So, what I have here is a set of scripts. These are all not in order. I'm trying to get them in order. And I'll come back to that episode at a later date because I can't fit everything in tonight. Okay. So here's a few different versions of the story. Right? I'm trying to get them at least into an order that's going to at least make some kind of sense. We'll do that next. Okay. You guys will recognize some of these. These are easy. Starting points, right, for a script. Starting points of scripts that you guys will understand or recognize, right? Where if you wanted to learn logically, and what I mean logically is like if you wanted to learn even the same stuff that's in here, because sometimes things follow logical patterns even though they don't look like they follow logical patterns. But we'll just take a look at some of these. So, in the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. That's Douglas Adams from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? Let's give you, like, there's so many that I could do, right? I'll give it to you straight. I'll give you the Book of Ra, the Book of the Sun God, the Path of the Sun God, right? For the occasion, I bought myself an early Christmas present because it's apparently the only place on earth that you can still get this stuff. Or where they still make it the right way. See if I can open it without cracking it. Oh, come on now. I know you want to come out. Do I have something thin enough to pry that up with? Oh, we got one side. Come on now. Be very careful. There we go. I know you want to come out of there. There we go. looks like one piece might be broken. That's okay. These things happen. That actually makes it probably more magical. So I'm gonna pull it out too. Come on, don't break all of them now. Come on. There we go. Our broken piece of chalk. Because why use something perfect? Yeah, no. Okay. So that's apparently the best chalk. It doesn't leave a lot of residue on your fingers, and it draws nicely, apparently. But it's actual real chalk, too. Which is important if you're going to do magic, to have the real ingredients, right? If you're going to do experiments, right? So we were asking that question before. Why did God create the heaven and the earth at the same time, right? There's another version of the story. There's multiple versions of this story, right? One of the oldest anecdotes that I have is like my third or fourth grade teacher. I'm pretty sure I'll do it with this. She got me to come up and draw a circle one time. And she said, draw a circle that's as big on the page. It was like something like as big on the page so that it contains everything on the page, right? And I think what she wanted me to do is she wanted me to draw a circle that went all the way out to the edges of the page, right? And when I came up, I drew a little circle in the middle. And she was like, "Why did you do that?" She didn't like it. She got upset because I think I did the opposite of what she was expecting, right? She wanted me to draw the big circle. I drew a little circle. And I said, "Well, you said, draw a circle that contains everything on the page." And I said, "But the page is blank. There's nothing on it. So I just drew whatever size I wanted. It doesn't have anything inside it, right?" And so then she taught me a lesson about something about like inside versus the outside of the circle, right? For what happens when you draw a circle, right? So I'll try to draw a circle. I'm not very good, right? You draw a circle. What happens when you draw the circle? The circle divides the thing into two. So by the time you've created one thing, and the one thing, it doesn't even have anything inside it, but it already contains the same, right? The same but different. It's like two different things, two different energies. It's like number one, right? What's number one? I'll do that as a different episode because we're talking dots and lines at that point. That's like numbers in the word, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to get into all that right now, right? Because it's too much, right? So I'm going to take this away just for now, right? So this is from the Egyptian Book of Ra. I don't know how old this is. Probably goes back a while. You know what I mean? If you think about it in terms of human development, the Egyptians like perfected like pictograms and drawing with pictures and hieroglyphs, thousands of years before, you know, we were all writing in English. And English, as we understand it, hasn't really been around that long, and it's kind of made up of a whole bunch of other languages, which is kind of odd, kind of weird. It's kind of odd that we use like words like beginning at all to describe that, but you know, I'll read you the Book of Ra version, right? I could do it. I could do it like this too, right? We could draw, we could cover the whole page. Now have I drawn one thing? Have I drawn many things? Have I drawn nothing? Oh, sorry, Captain Squawks. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I know you're cursing at me, but it's okay. We'll get you back up there. Okay. Before all time, there was the noon, sea of chaos, where all forms of what was to be lay hidden. Within the heart of the living noon stirred the spirit of the waters, the great snake. Let me get that. There we go. Apep. From the coils of Apep sprang Atum, first god of creation, and the one became two. Apep embraced Atum in his coils, binding tightly to his second nature, trying to become one with himself again. But Atum transformed himself in the folds of Apep into the scarab god of becoming, and broke free from his embrace. The circle is always shown broken. It's the egg of creation, right? Apep, serpent of chaos, fought to return with Atum to the heart of the noon. But Atum overpowered Apep, lying now, alone in the waters. Atum thought of his children to be. In his heart, he created their names and spoke them. And I could do it like this. Shu, the air, and Tefnut, the moisture. And they were given form. I could go back and I could read you right. We're back here again. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, right? And the earth was without form and void, right? Just imagine that's still going. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. So we've got the light and the darkness, right? And God called the light day and the darkness night. And the evening and morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters of the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God creates the heaven and the earth, right? God creates the land and the water, right? The hill and the valley that they're always singing about, the mountain. Sow it on the mountain, reap it in the valley, right? And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called the sea. And God said that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. That's the seed on the earth, right? And the earth brought forth grass and herbs yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after its kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the first day. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, for days and for years, and let them be for lights in the firmament in heaven to guide light upon earth. And it was so. Or to give light upon earth. And it was so. And God made two lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Now, I know that's one of them, right? But the stars that they're talking about with the cross, I could put them on too. The morning star and the evening star. Two different crosses, right? Two different crucifixes, different saints, different biblical characters or figures were crucified on each of those types of crosses, right? They represent the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west, and then the points on a compass that guide you in each of those four quadrants, each of those four directions. That's why the symbolism always goes like that, right? You got the cross and you got the other one, you know. But I won't get into all of it. We're just talking. We're just having fun, guys. I'm just looking at stuff, right? God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over day and over night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the more moving creature that hath life, and the fowl that may fly upon the earth, and open the firmament of heaven. Now, for that's beyond where I was going to go today. Okay, I have I have stuff I can show you for when we get to the animals, the fair and foul, fauna and flora, and all that fun stuff. But I just wanted to really quickly read you guys a few more of these, and then we'll be done. So these are more stories of the beginning that you could read if you wanted to learn more about the archetypal story. And so this is Darksiders from the video game. Since the dawn of time, the armies of heaven and hell have waged an endless war. Drawn to the conflict was the Charred Council, an entity bound by ancient laws to preserve order and balance. It held that any great power, unchecked, threatened the very fabric of the universe. In time, heaven and hell came to honor the council and its laws, for none were beyond the swift and terrible justice of the council's enforcers, a fearsome brotherhood known as the Four Horsemen. Amid the turmoil, the first humans emerged. The council foretold that these weak but cunning creatures would someday be integral to the balance. Thus, a third kingdom was named, the Kingdom of Man. By order of the council, a truce was forged between heaven and hell. The great pact was bound by 7 seals, to be broken at the appointed time, when man's kingdom stood ready for the end war, a battle that would bring balance and determine the ultimate fate of the 3 kingdoms. Just to get really confusing, I'll throw in the cube. Transformers. Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life. That is how our race was born. For a time we lived in harmony, but like all great power, some wanted it for good, others for evil. And so began the war. A war that ravaged our planet until it was consumed by death. And the cube was lost to the far reaches of space. We scattered across the galaxy, hoping to find it and rebuild our home, searching every star, every world. And just when all hope seemed lost, message of a new discovery drew us to an unknown planet called Earth. But we were already too late. Now to go to some lighter versions. This is from the Hogfather. Everything starts somewhere, although many physicists disagree. There's the constant desire to find out where. Where is the point where it all began? But much, much later than that, the Discworld was formed. Drifting onwards through space atop 4 elephants on the shell of a giant turtle, the great Atun. It was some time after its creation when most people forgot that the oldest stories of the beginning are sooner or later about blood. At least that's one theory. The philosopher Didactylus has suggested an alternative hypothesis. Things just happen. What the hell? And so our story begins. I think I've got one more here. No, I think maybe I've gone through all of them. Yeah. So what was the point of that exercise? Maybe you guys can tell me someday, right? What I'm trying to do is to show that there's a logical sequence that begins when you start reading certain stories, certain archetypal stories, right, that have been around forever, that people have been holding on to and passing down, right? I'm going to try to explain more about why all of this works and keeps happening and what it means. But it's a lot to unpack, and it's a lot just for me to even sort of mentally work through in my brain a lot of the time. So you guys will have to bear with me. I'm doing my best to try to show where some of this stuff might be coming from or what it might mean. And so if that's something that you're interested in, if you found this an interesting discussion, please hit the like, subscribe, and just take some of this stuff into consideration. It's a fun topic. It's stuff that I plan to talk more about, and I would be interested in hearing other people's opinions. I'm sure that eventually plenty of people will find this and give me their opinions, but it's just looking at the things around us and trying to understand why things are the way that they are. You know what I mean? And will the circle ever be unbroken? You know, and what does it mean? What does it mean that you divide the one into two? You divide that one into two, and then two becomes many, right? There's a lot of ancient symbolism, ancient magic that's hidden within the stuff that's all around us. And it actually it means stuff if you think about it. It means stuff if it's like I just think it's important for people to be able to see the world in a maybe a slightly different way, you know? It's like understand themselves and what where they come from, you know what I mean? Just a little bit better. So if you enjoyed that, please join me next time for more continuing adventures in magic and mayhem. And you know, I I I, I will close out the meeting with the Harry Potter swear of I do solemnly swear that I'm up to no good, but don't hold it against me because we're gonna have some fun. So I promise. If you guys can stick it out with me, you guys will enjoy it. So there's a lot to learn. And I can't say that it's all going to be good, but it'll at least be interesting conversations. Well, I'll put it that way. So thank you for joining me.